One of the common threads that seems to run through a lot of the questions that we got today aren't necessarily tattooers looking for a one-size-fits-all solution. They are just curious to get your opinion, but one of the things that I've been hearing from you today is there is a bit of trial and error here. There are times where you might go and try something that's maybe outside of, maybe you're not going to use a bug pin mag. You've got a long taper handy and you want to try it. Do you care to speak to that at all a little bit, where you might maybe start with one grouping and decide to switch in the middle of a tattoo? I mean,
yeah,
I think there is a new generation of tattooer who are maybe looking for a one-size-fits-all solution, but you know the reality is that you've amassed 30 years of experience and there's been a lot of trial and error in that time.
yeah, okay, that's fair. You know, I did it the other day with, so we got samples of 41 mag. We had samples of the new big mags, and I had a 41 Magnum that I really wanted to try, but I was doing this piece that I felt like it was too small for. It was too many little things I was like shading in, and I was like, sometimes you use a really big mag on small stuff, you waste time because you're like cornering and everything. You're not really like moving, you're not covering the space or whatever. But I started doing that, and then I was like, oh, this area, and I found myself like having to tattoo a little too much for this. I was using a 17 bug pin, okay? Yeah, which is like a 15 mag. So I was using a 17 bug pin, and I was like, I'm taking too long on this part, these other bigger areas. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna try this 41. I put the 41 in, and it was awesome, and I didn't have to change it out. I got to use it for the rest of the tattoo, because I realized that even on those parts where I had to corner it, it wasn't that, I was overestimating how difficult it might be, and maybe underestimating where it would fit into this thing, right? And that happens to me with all kinds of tattoos. I mean, I set up a liner, I set up like a whatever, you know, set up a 8 round, or I set up a 7 round or a 9 or something, and then I pull a couple lines and I go, I want it a little bit bigger, you know? And I pull out the next big one up, and that's what I tattoo with. Or maybe on the little tighter stuff, then I use that smaller one on the little tighter areas, but the bigger stuff I use the bigger line on. And that's okay to change that stuff. I think it's not something that you should, I don't know why anyone would be like, I only use 7 mags and I only use this. I don't know what the benefit is that. I think it's foolish to think that this grouping is going to be the thing that does everything, unless you only do tattoos that are that size on that body part. I don't know why it would be the best and the one that works the best. To me, it makes no sense unless you're unwilling to try something else and get a little bit used to it. I don't know why you would do that. I never did that ever. The whole time since I first started tattooing, I'm always trying something new. What about that? How's that work? Whatever. I mean, we made our own needles, right? So you can make anything you wanted, right? So you were like, I'm going to make a 15, or you know, whatever you wanted to make. You know, at that time, 15 in 1993 was pretty big, right? So you had to find a tube for that. But you know, there was lots of that, right? You could maximize. You could try it. Well, man, you know, kind of how we spoke about earlier. Maybe this area is a little bit too small for a 15, but what about these 2 spots in it? And I haven't tried a 15 yet. I want to set one up because I want to color with a 15 for a minute, just in these little areas, just to experience it, right? To see how it works. Like, is it hard? Is it weird? Does it not work good? And then you find out if you can use it or not. Yeah, there's definitely no one size fits all for anything, in my opinion. I think everything is a specific thing. I think the idea of choosing the needle grouping has to be when you know the size of your tattoo, and like the person's skin type and your goals as far as black and gray or color, then you can decide how to set up your stuff. Because otherwise you're dictating how that tattoo is going to look according to how you're setting up your machines, right? And you're dictating the speed too. Like if you're doing a big piece, why would you color on the 7 mag? Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. And like 0 sense. Like it just takes more time and it is more pain.
There's better tools available.
Why do that?
Yeah.
Right? Like why do that?